Hey, boys and girls. So, live once again. And unfortunately, today, we have absolutely nothing to talk about, really, except Top Dog brought me a couple of videos. Probably saved my ass, because I was hoping for banter from others, but well, Top Dog's the only guy that showed up. Well, Scott showed up, but he had to leave. So, anyway. Not sure what's going on out there in the YouTube sphere. I haven't been paying too much attention to Standing for Truth, John Maddox, and others, other than been looking at some biosemiotic stuff. And, you hear that word over and over again. And I get about 1 or 2 papers a day on biosemiotics. So it's kind of a hot field in biology. But I'll be damned if I can find anything that they've actually accomplished with it. It's all about, the marriage of information in biology and all of that. And someday, I'm hoping, I have something to share. Oh, my God. Andrew has something to share. I think I gave you a link, Andrew, but I can throw one in the chat. But anyway, biosemiotics, I mean, it's a really neat idea. It's about signaling and sort of a different way to look at stuff. But God, there's just not a whole lot of real accomplishments, right? Or real technical work done on the subject. Just a whole lot of talking about biosemiotics. But I do have 30 papers that I haven't looked at yet on it. So hopefully I'll have something to report on that or figure out. So I'm waiting for you, Andrew. You can come on in. There is, let's see, this right here, what we're looking at on the screen, and where I got the interesting little diagram, is from this book, A World Beyond Physics, The Emergence and Evolution of Life by Stuart A. Kaufman. And it was referred to in a paper, paper on the hot spring origin of life by Bruce Dahmer and David Deamer, which we are going to be reviewing the third part of tonight at 7 p.m. So, and we're gonna try to make it a little more interesting, get a little more into it. David.
Hey, how are you guys? I figured I'd jump in.
Hey.
You guys can hear me all right?
Yep.
Oh, David Laurie?
Yes.
David Laurie. Oh,
how are you?
Fine, we're good. Anyway, I spotted this illustration here, and they have all of this really interesting stuff. These basically it says BABB, ABB. They're just all different combinations of nucleotides, and then they have food and a metabolism and lipids, and then they have poop. And we were trying to figure out what poop is an acronym for. And I think it's an acronym for peripheral ontogenesis of poop, we think, but we're not sure. Anyway, but this, they talk about the Dahmer, I think it's Dahmer-Deamer scenario. And I haven't read it yet, but this was referred to by this other paper called The Hot Spring Origin of Life, I think, by Dahmer and Deamer, which we're going to be reviewing the third part of tonight. So, Tangelo has joined us. What do you got there, Andrew, for us?
What? What are you talking about?
Did you say you had something that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I guess I'll wait till you're done with what you want to get through first.
I am kind of. I just wanted to mention the little diagram that I had for the show and why I had it. It's sort of a pre-ad for that abiogenesis paper, which we're going to be covering tonight, which absolutely destroys Otangelo's ideas, all of them. So, anyway, what do you got? Oh, you're humming again, Otangelo. I muted you for a minute because you got that electrical hum again. Andrew, you said you had something.
Okay, sure. So, my I guess addiction, if we want to call it that.
Oh no! Did you do it again?
Yeah. Oh, Otangelo left.
Otangelo left. Otangelo,
CRISPR.
Yeah, we got CRISPR now. You were buzzing. So CRISPR. Okay. Anyway, Andrew, what did you have? Oh, where is it? Where would I find it?
On Maddox's channel.
You went on there last night?
Yeah.
Oh my! And you didn't call your sponsor.
Wait, I have a sponsor?
I'm your sponsor.
Oh, well, I don't call you.
I don't know that he's old enough to know what that means.
I know. I know.
Wait, am I missing something here?
Yeah, that went right over his head.
Yeah, it's the addiction support groups. Your sponsor is the
Yeah, it's a reference to the 12-step thing that we've been sort of joking about with you. That you admitted you were powerless over Madass, and that your life had become unmanageable. And we see that you're. Oh my God! So 23 hours ago, that one. Thoughts from?
Yeah, the one on bad design, which we surprisingly didn't talk much about.
No, he's the one on bad. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, or like, are humans evidence of bad design? Oh, hold on one sec.
Because I can't find it. I find videos. So CRISPR, do you get into abio much?
Well, I mean, I'm interested in it as a topic. I don't generally talk about it with most people.
Yeah.
Because I have a simple rule for this, generally speaking, which is that if somebody's a young Earth creationist, I'm not going to talk to them about abiogenesis.
Yeah, good rule.
Because they're just being dishonest at that point. So why bother?
Yeah. Well, as soon as you start talking about abiogenesis, they want to talk about fully, extant eukaryotic cells.
Right. So what I say is, if you want to talk about abiogenesis, that's fine, but I'm going to take it to mean you accept evolution as true.
Right.
And I'm not going to take it to mean that. I'm going to need you to say it for me.
Yeah.
What, that evolution is true?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who wants to talk to me about abio, I'm going to need that first, because, that's evolution is the simple stuff, right?
Right.
You're saying that you think the Earth is 10,000 years old. Not you personally.
Yeah. So, sorry.
And we've got great evidence that that's obviously crazy. And you want to talk about abiogenesis instead? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of a good move, because it gets frustrating. I don't know.
It always gets frustrating when you're talking to people like that.
Yep. Did you get a link for me, Andrew?
I can look real quick. Hold on. I was just gonna say, if we can't find it, I'd like to ask CRISPR some stuff based on my conversation last night, if that's okay with you, Speed.
Oh, sure. I'm fine with
Who did you have a conversation with?
The Madman.
The Maddox.
Mad Max.
If that's okay with CRISPR, you guys could.
Yeah, I suppose. I was wondering if Otangelo is going to come back in.
I don't know. He had trouble. I muted him because his mic was buzzing, and I haven't heard from him since. Maybe he got mad at me.
I mean, I posted the link in the side as well, but I gave him this paper like a week and a half ago, and I think he's still not read the thing.
I think he said he's gonna try and restart his PC or something.
Okay. Okay. So this paper.
Oh, it's cold.
You guys go ahead and go for it, Andrew, if you want to talk.
Oh, okay. So CRISPR, one of the things we talked about was this supposed distinction between historical and operational science, and I want to hear your thoughts on that first and foremost.
Okay, got to make sure that my mouse and keyboard are on the right computer when I try and do push to talk. That'll help. All right, yeah, they do that. That's something they do. It's just a nonsense. It's a nothing that they say, and they try and act like it's something that they're saying.
Right. I'm guessing you personally don't see any distinction, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously not, because like the science that I do is right now. I'm not a historian. I don't know, but they say, well, it's a historical science that you're doing. Like, what does that even mean? It doesn't even make any. Like, there's nothing to it.
Right. I think in my conversation last night, they said something along the lines of, if it involves inference or if it's not in the lab or something ridiculous like that, then it's not operational empirical science.
All science involves inferences.
Right. That's what I tried to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess you can probably explain it better than I. So, like, for anyone in the audience out there, could you explain what you mean by that?
Well, they have this. They like to say this thing as well, that you're just basing this on assumptions. Yeah, right. I'm doing science. Science has assumptions in it. We have ways of testing those assumptions and seeing if they're valid. We have ways of testing sets of assumptions against one another to see which is the most parsimonious with reality. But yeah, of course there are assumptions. But like saying that assumptions are bad is just a rejection of science writ large. And it's the same thing with all of this other. If you're going to talk about an inference, like yeah, of course you're going to make inferences. That's the point.
You're basically building off what you know in order to make new knowledge, basically, and you can't do that if you ignore. It's like that old quote, and I think they brought that up, that Newton said he's standing on the shoulders of giants, or maybe it was Einstein. I don't remember.
No, that was Newton. If I've seen further than others.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think that was Newton. Yeah, that would make sense. Let's see. So I also brought up the example of the Chicxulub impact and how you can look at asteroids. You see the trace elements, and you know what happens when something impacts. You have a crater, and we know that big explosions create shocked quartz, and we have all these other clues. So we can infer in that sense that if we see those same clues here on Earth, then there must have been a collision at some point in the past. And of course, we know exactly when in the past. But I can't remember exactly what they said, but they said that like something along the lines of, in the same way that you can't know that the light coming from a distant star or planet or something like that has always taken a straight line, that it could have been refracted, for instance. So I think what they're trying to say is that, like, or like, I don't know, it seems like they're making all these, like you said, unparsimonious assumptions and providing no backing up of it.
This is talking about the speed of light?
Well, we were talking about, like, okay, what is science, what is not science, and like they one of them, I think it was Joel. I think Joel was in there, and he was talking about light traveling in a straight line, but it could have been refracted along the way. It could have taken different directions. and I was trying to explain to him that that you need that the person making that kind of claim has the burden of proof, that they need to support that claim. Otherwise, we're just going to go with the most reasonable, the most parsimonious explanation of the data.
Right.
Basic data.
So the
Did you
thing
want
on
to
the
say something?
the
Oh,
thing
sorry.
on the thing on the historicity of of organisms and how exactly they evolved. Of course, we're never going to figure that out exactly, and that isn't kind of what we're doing. Actually, what we're trying to do is figure out what's related to what today. I think, and I mean, it would be nice to know exactly what the tree of life looked like, but I don't think we're making any giant leaps in determining that. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, CRISPR.
I mean, I didn't really have much else to say on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You
or
know,
what do you... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The thing is, okay, if you analyze a sample that has done something 3 hours ago, that's historical science, right?
Right, yeah, I brought another example similar to that of like the sun, for instance, and how I think like I said, it's hard to remember exactly what they said, but like what they found, or I guess one of them admitted that could be historical science, in which case astronomy in general was historical science, and I was like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Okay, but so it occurs to me that how do you know if you're gonna do science and all of the science you do is in a lab in the present day, right? How do you know that all of your previous results were what they were, right? Because, well, you wrote them down, right?
Yeah.
But that's a record of what happened in the past. How do you know that that's accurate? If you're going to play that game, then it all dissolves, and you're left with nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they brought up the example of like the only eyewitness testimony basically was God or something like that. Because
did you make sure to mention that eyewitness testimony is the worst form of testimony?
I was going to, but then we kind of got sidetracked. Yeah, I agree. Eyewitness testimony is pretty inaccurate most of the time. It's kind of silly, like if it's not humanoid basically, or if it's not human related, then for some reason lay people don't like it just in general.
So apparently YouTube's doing one of those things to me where they're not showing me what the latest video is. So that's
it may have been blocked because of copyright stuff. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That may have been it.
Yeah, I didn't even get. Oh, I got a notice for it. Oh, I do have a notice for it. Here it is. Oh, the video is private. He made it private. Oh, you should have told me about that before you went live. I could have captured chat for you and stuff. But then you would have had to call your sponsor before you went on, and then your sponsor would have had a harsh talk with you.
Oh,
yeah. But no, it's wonderful that you're going out there taking one for the team, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's funny. One of the, Standing actually, I was kind of laughing at this, but like he said, like you're braver and you're more out there than your buddy Speed and all the other people out there. I was like, no comment on that.
Well, braver is one adjective we could use.
Maybe.
I just don't have time to go on their things.
Yeah. Well, I don't have. I just don't have the tolerance for galloping from one thing to another. I have to like talk about a subject, like one subject, one particular subject. I like to talk about that. So
that's because you're older than me, Speed. I'm still an infant.
Older and wiser. Yeah.
Yep.
And you want to end up wrong. I don't know. I've never seen a fair exchange with those people because it tends to, as soon as you start making a point, you get pushed off onto something else.
And I don't know enough to I don't know enough to talk to the Maddox. I remember talking to him.
Do we have to know that much for that to beat them?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think I did pretty well the one time I was on his channel.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's because you're amazingly smart, CRISPR. So.
No, I've just been doing this long enough. I know everything they're going to say before they say it.
Yeah, you don't take any shit from them. Like I've listened to say, like some of your earlier stuff with Standing for Truth. So I mean, you just pounded him so badly.
Yeah, that was my fault. 6 months of having Standing and CRISPR.
I mean, I truly thought after listening to the pounding you gave him, CRISPR, that he would just shut his YouTube channel down, and that'd be the last we ever heard from him. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, that ain't what happened. Anyway,
so he got famous.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just wanted to say he got famous.
Oh, yeah.
Semi-famous, anyway.
Yeah, 3.6 or 3.2 thousand subscribers or whatever. So you gave this paper to D'Angelo to read, or you know how that's going to turn.
I think it's a pretty interesting paper. Been working, it's kind of dense, but there's some great stuff in there.
Yeah, it's a 2021. Yeah.
Let's see. What's the paper about? I walked away. What's the title?
RNA sequences can assemble into a replicator.
Now that is interesting.
And that's some of the same stuff we've been reading a little bit about in the Dahmer thing that we're going to be covering on that paper tonight about how it all got started, basically. And they go through, I think this is one of the problems, the original replicators.
So the really, really short version of it is that you've got these. Actually, I think that this paper actually fits in with some of the stuff that Dahmer talks about with the amino acid stabilization of RNA.
Yeah, that's what Demeter talks about. That Dahmer and Dahmer.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But because the basic idea of this paper is that you have these sort of proto-tRNA sequences that are functioning in the sense that they work as aggregates, right?
Yep.
And they work as sequential aggregates. And so the different versions of them lining up have particular interactions. And then the different versions of them additionally have different affinities. And this is how you can get to the point where you've got actual amino transferase potential.
Yeah. Where are the tRNAs? What chromosome in humans do they reside in? Isn't it like three of them? 3 different chromosomes?
Yeah, they're spread out a bit, and then there's also some on the mitochondria, I believe.
Yeah. They I mean,
mitochondria have their own tRNA.
They have their own 20, sequences. I think. Yeah, and they have less, I think, than we do in the chromosomes, if I remember. But there's something about when you look at the ribosome, there's something about the ribosome being assembled at the tails, I think, of chromosomes in the nucleolus. They seem to have almost a significantly different pathway. Genetically, they have kind of a different pathway.
That's because the ribosome is based on RNA, not protein.
Yeah, but there's this, the RNAs that are assembled in this nucleolus structure, that is kind of different and special, and that it uses polymerase 1 and 3 instead of 2, and there's some other things about it. And there's something there. And then when I looked at, when you started, what we're looking at, historical science, we're kind of looking at fossils. We're looking at the fossil formation of the eukaryotic cell. And when you start looking into it, every piece of it has a clue. And currently I've been looking at the Golgi apparatus, and I'm trying to find clues for that, and I haven't found any yet because I just started. But I found clues for what the hell was it? Nuclear pore signals. What do they call them? The import signal, nuclear import signals, basically for importing a protein back into the nucleus, right? It turns out that was used in, I think, the ribosome of some prokaryotes. There are remnants. So there's all these interconnections that we're working out. And there's that, so we have the fossil evidence today of what we got today. And then we're looking way back at this stuff, which is even more interesting because these are very small molecules. So this is small molecule biology. And I think that's kind of trending lately, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, so I've always thought that the most likely scenario is not a single sequence, but instead a population of interacting sequences.
Right. Yeah, and I'm and this thing about one common eukaryotic ancestor cell is something that I don't know if anybody believes in it. That was like one cell. I don't think it was one cell. It was like a population.
Well, you keep saying eukaryote, but this is before eukaryotes.
Yeah, before. Well, this is well before eukaryotes.
This is before life. So
yeah, I use that as an example. But this idea of there only being one ancestor cell, I think it was much more complicated and intermixed than that. And these things were bumping into each other. And if you look at the paper that we're going over tonight, the hot spring hypothesis, they talk about these. Let's see, the section we're going over, they talk about membranes. And there is a real simple 15 peptide protein that works on lipid membranes to cause them to basically be transporters of sodium and potassium ions, basically, that they found. And they mentioned that in this paper, which is kind of cool. So small molecules is kind of where it's at, looking at all these small molecules and how they self-assemble. And from there, it's, as Demeter says, it's a matter of a type of natural selection is active in that they're stabilized, that some molecules are stabilized. And what we're looking for is that cycle where it's stabilized by natural selection, but then it goes around and it self-creates. So there's a self-creation loop that we're looking for, basically, which would be the match that lit life, that where everything started to happen. Because those particular molecules would become popular,
Well, additionally, so one thing that I think that sometimes gets lost is that we talk about self-replication, but self-replication implies that the molecule is actually actively replicating itself,
right?
As opposed to template-directed non-enzymatic polymerization, which is not self-replication. So if you have a sequence that is being replicated that way, right? It's not replicating itself. It's being replicated by virtue of the environment that it's in. Every other sequence is also being replicated too.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of that. So
by virtue of a cycle, that cycle that goes around and self-creates. And that's
it's not self-creating because it's not creating itself.
Well, the cycle basically.
I don't know what cycle you mean.
The whole system, the system of all the molecules together in a cycle, eventually.
There's no cycle. There's no cycle. There's no cycle. There's just you have conditions in which you have appropriate substrate for a non-enzymatic template-directed polymerization, right? You put a sequence into that environment, it'll get copied. It's not copying itself, right? There's no cycle. There's no self anything. It's just sequences get copied in that condition.
Oh, let's see. Okay, if you look at Demeter's stuff, he talks about a cycle where it goes, but it's a large cycle. I mean, it's not, the thing self-replicating itself. It's going around and it creates a condition that comes back around and restabilizes the thing that it started out as. And so that becomes larger and larger in the population. So that particular formation becomes more prevalent in the population. And then there's the possibility of developing into a protocell, I think is what they're talking about. But I think we're just crossing up on semantics here, basically. When I say cycle, I don't mean self-replicating. I mean large system that ends up creating more and more of the by virtue of the system, it creates more and more of the products that make up the system. So that would be a cycle. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for those things that become more populated, more popular, whatever. But yeah, I can see why you'd push back on that. But anyway, Andrew, any other questions?
I guess I had some off-topic ones for CRISPR, but
that's fine. Yeah, we're not exactly on a topic here today. I'm not topic-oriented today.
Well, I mean,
okay.
It's just, I wonder what kind of computer Otangelo has that takes this long for it to restart.
Yeah, it's probably biological.
You joke, but sometimes computers can take forever when they're updating.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that happens. The old Microsoft update trap. And if you ever fell into the Microsoft Vindel loop,
I mean, at this point, I'm starting to think Otangelo had to go get the other set of punch cards to get it running again.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
And I think John Maddox borrowed them because John Maddox was studying binary information on punch cards. I think he's still trying to get his mind around that. So, still trying to figure out what information is. So, Christopher, have you heard about the whole biosemiotics thing that's going on in biology? And do you hate it as much as most biologists probably do?
I mean, I don't know the extent to which it's going on within biology.
I've been getting like 1 or 2 papers a day from the Royal Society and other publications. So there are a bunch of people that are pretty hyped about this. And there's one creationist named David Abel. I think it's David Abel. And he puts out about a paper a day. Because he's an ideer. He's not a creationist. He's an ideer. And he's just tapped into that. But then there's all these other people that are legitimately trying to do something with it. And I'm trying to get my mind around what the fuck they're trying to do with it, what it's all going to mean. I don't know. I'm guessing in the medical field, eventually computers and models are going to play big. And it may play in there. So. But yeah, off-topic questions, Andrew?
Oh, okay. So, CRISPR, I don't know how much research, or because you seem to be more in molecular biology, but like, is any of your research into like speciation and macroevolution and things like that?
I think it's fair to say that the answer is yes.
Okay. In that case, my first question would be, like I've heard some of these different mechanisms of speciation. Could you, I guess, give a brief rundown of what the different mechanisms are for species to speciate?
You mean like allopatric versus?
Yeah, around that, or just like because. In some of my conversations with professors and stuff like that, they've given examples of like bears spread across an environment, and the environment differs, for instance, and so that causes one population in one area of the environment to speciate. And then another example someone else gave was a range being separated into islands and basins, and the species kind of left out there. And let's see, or I guess I'll just leave it at that. But like something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So there's a lot of allopatric speciation. There's some sympatric speciation as well. Obviously, anytime you have a division of terrain that is some kind of barrier that is difficult for the organism to cross, then you've got the potential for reproductive isolation sufficient to allow for genetic isolation and differentiation. Now, does that mean that that's required? Obviously not. Now, you can still have sympatric speciation. It's a little bit trickier though, for a variety of reasons. Not worth really getting into. But yeah, so I really don't know what the question is beyond, like, how do they speciate?
right? Yeah.
There's a lot of reproductive isolation of one kind or another for the most part.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess my question is, I've heard these terms of allopatric, parapatric, and I forget the other one. Like these kind of different models of allopatric speciation, and I was hoping you could define them, or kind of give me a rundown of what separates them.
But so it's just because you've got geographic isolation, right? And
Okay.
the allopatric, and versus if you don't have geographic isolation, right? Then it's sympatric. And then you also have the idea that you can have partial separation, which is what they talk about as parapatric. And then you also have the idea of syntopy, which is the idea that they're living in the same place, but are they living at the same place, like exactly the same time and place, right? Because if you have one organism that only comes out at night and one organism that only comes out during the day, they're living in the same place, but they're still never going to interact.
Okay. So in that case, the organisms spread over a large environment that differs in conditions across that environment, that would be parapatric speciation.
Yeah. So if they're being separated by the conditions of the environment, then yes.
Okay. Whereas something like you have a region and it starts separating, like due to continental drift or something like that, that would be an example of vicariance, or what's the term for that exactly?
Vicariance is a way you can get allopatric speciation.
Okay. Like in contrast to like dispersal or something?
Right.
Okay. Oh, I'm hearing some or Tangelo? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's your Tangelo buzzing.
Is it depending on my microphone?
Oh, your microphone's horrible. But you're obviously hooked up to that toaster again, because I can hear the toaster buzzing.
Oh, Tangelo,
Hello.
try doing what you did last night. Maybe that'll help.
Well,
Is that what kind of microphone are you using?
Well, until now it was working okay. Let me tell you.
A toaster.
Is it better now?
Yes. It's not good, but it's better.
No, it's breaking up a little bit, but it's clearer and louder. So, what did you just do to make it louder?
Well, I have here several options where I can change the microphone. So one works better and the other less.
Yeah.
Good, so
Now your gain is way too high, so that you're somehow clipping.
It's not even gain.
Well, so
I'm lowering the microphone volume now. Is it better now?
no, that
Yeah, see,
didn't help.
That's what I mean by it not being gain. It's not an issue of gain.
Not microphone gain, but something you're overloading and you're clipping.
Yeah, I tried to solve that, but I wasn't able. I don't know what I have to change.
What kind of microphone do you have?
Well, the headphone microphone. It was working fine until now.
Okay, hit it. Hit it. Hit it with your hand. Oh, started buzzing again. You got a loose connection.
Yeah, that's my guess. Is that it's probably not a working microphone.
Yeah. Well, is the buzz? Is it with buzz now or not?
No buzz, but you got that the clipping, the gravelly stuff. So your audio is really so.
I tried several configurations, and I was unable to remove that clipping. So if that is disturbing, I leave the stream, no problem.
You sound like an alien robot.
This is why I always recommend to people that you only use headphones when you're in these things, and also turn on listen. It takes a while to get used to having listen on, but once you're used to it, you actually know what the sound coming out of your microphone is constantly in your own ears, and that way you're not going into a room hearing random sounds that you don't know about.
Yeah, I did that before I came in, and the final configuration was not without noise, but with clipping. I wasn't able to remove the clipping, so yeah.
That's really bad.
I would suggest you go through and test all your connections, and then probably just go ahead and buy a new microphone.
Yeah. Okay, I will just go home and see if I can better the configuration.
So I went to this expensive electronics school back in the 70s, and they one of the classes was TV repair, and the very first thing he told us, the very first thing is you take the TV and you give it a little kick. Just smack it. And if that doesn't help, then that's what the rest of the class was about. If the kick didn't work. But that was his advice, and I thought, what the fuck did I pay you guys for? Anyway, he left again. So anyway, hopefully Otangelo will get his, this problem has been going on for him for about 2 weeks now. I think he needs to spend money on a different microphone. I would go ahead and buy one if I had a YouTube channel.
Well, I think that probably what he needs to do is he needs to find a microphone that's intelligently designed.
There we go. But one that also has proof of intelligent design.
No, I mean, I got a halfway decent microphone. The quality's not the best, but it is actually on a scissor arm, so that's good. It's like you pay a little bit of money because if you're doing this at all, right? Yeah. Like, come on.
Invest. Yeah, I think so.
My headset is all right, I guess, but not the best.
Is my microphone good most of the time?
Yes.
Yours is really good, yeah. Really good. Yours is actually a little echoey, CRISPR, for some reason. A little bit of echo. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the StreamYards thing. It's it doesn't like my audio setup.
Yeah, what the hell? What is StreamYards so bigoted? I mean, they're like a handful of people have trouble with it, and other people don't at all.
Speed. It's the current war between StreamYard and Google Meet.
Is that what it is?
StreamYard is getting kind of anxious.
As Google Meet. I wasn't impressed with Google Meet's features, so nor am I.
It worked okay.
Yeah, and StreamYard's features are pretty non-existent.
Oh, I mean, for now, it is still in beta, I guess. Isn't it?
Well, I write this kind of software, and there is no reason for StreamYard to be as retarded and behind as they are. They must have like 2 programmers working for them, and they're overloaded with bandwidth stuff, and they haven't been able to get the features because it ain't that hard to put features into a web page.
No, it isn't, but it takes sometimes it takes forever for companies to do that.
Yeah, the feature I want is I want to have multiple screens, so so I don't have to close one screen, open another screen, and go searching through the tabs and all that bullshit. There's no reason why they couldn't easily do that. If they can put one screen up, they can put 6.
Wait, what?
Okay, when you're on StreamYard, if you share a screen, you can only share one screen you can only share one tab or screen at a time, and then it knocks it down every time you use it. So you have to go and reopen the stream over and over again instead of just clicking on it, right? Like I can click on any of you and remove you or put you in the show, right? I get one screen. There's no reason why they couldn't give you 10 screens or 12 screens. So you just click on a screen, you go to a different tab. Like if I want to go from this paper to a video and back and forth, I shouldn't have to go through the whole share screen, click 3 dialog boxes. Remember to click the audio tab, that bullshit. It's not that hard.
Can't you just change what page you're on?
Well, you can change, like you could go to a Chrome tab and keep changing the URL for that particular Chrome tab once you've saved one. But I can't go from a Chrome tab to this paper, which is this is actually a Chrome tab right now. But I mean, if I have papers in PDF form and I have to shut them down, go back to the video, go back to the thing, it just doesn't make sense.
Oh, wait, can't you open them in Chrome also?
Yeah, I could do everything in Chrome and just use one tab, I guess, But,
or one instance of Chrome.
I use screen share. So I can have multiple things change.
What do you have?
Screen share. The screen share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're doing an entire screen. Yeah, I can do an entire screen, but my screens are about they're 4K screens, and I don't know. It's a bit. I could use OBS. Is what I could use.
Yeah. Why don't you do like Knock does and use OBS and still have StreamYard?
Yeah, but he recently had all kinds of issues with OBS too when he came back on. I don't know. Whatever.
So, is this just a short weather report, or are we waiting for Tangelo to fix his mic?
I think we're going to have to wait for him to go to Walmart to do that. Because he's had this problem for over a week, where the buzzing, and it goes from the buzzing to the clipping and the robot noise, and I don't know, back again. Anyway, this paper looks pretty good. I need to look at this. So, who did this paper, by the way? Who is this? Kuhnlein, and Dieter Braun. But so yeah, short weather report today. I don't think we got too much going on. There's this thing with what's his name? Argatha. Probably not worth getting into, but he makes a case for why 15 and 16-year-old women should get married and get pregnant.
Oof, yeah, no.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's disturbing.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, they're talking about slavery, right? So when they get in their slavery basically fucking woman bashing mode. And what are a bunch of fucking males sitting around reading the Bible, deciding what women should do with their bodies and what people should do with their children? How does that work?
One-handed.
Yeah.
I mean, the most disturbing thing was if you had a woman in there agreeing, yeah, we should definitely have, our daughters marry at 16.
Or if we had the daughters themselves speaking for themselves, maybe we could, realize that. No, they're not ready. Yeah. But the thing is, these guys sit around and talk about what women should do in the church and all that stuff, and it's a bunch of guys on the panel. And then when some woman does stop into their stream, she's treated like crap, and it's just amazing. And these are the people that side with the Republican Party, which used to be about basically conservative, right? Meaning that a man's home is his,
Yes.
completely impenetrable to the government, and that your body and your autonomy, that's sort of freedom, right? And so this is the thing. Now they sit around and decide what other people should do with their, with their butts and with their bodies, with their wombs, and I just don't get it. I don't know. And they do it. They are very unashamed on Praise's channel. Praise's channel is a forum where they really start to tell you what's about the stinky little spots at the interior of their brains.
Actually, I was listening in a little bit on Praise's channel, and they were reviewing. One of the videos from the Atheist Roundtable, and it was this. What's his name? Is Bram? He's a kid, and he's a theist. He's having a conversation with Just Jeff and Oz, and he was bringing up best inference. What is it? Best inference from the possibility or something like that. What do they call that?
Abduction or
no? Best inference to the
best explanation.
Yeah, best inference to the explanation. Yeah.
Okay.
So he had given the kid was making it. Well, they were talking about the resurrection of Christ, and he's like, well, I can just go off the best inference to the explanation, and then Just Jeff he counters with, well, Jesus was actually an alien. And he just has the ability, he's from another planet, and he has this ability to die and come back to life, bring himself back up to life. And when he ascended into heaven, that was just when his mothership came and picked him up. And they paused the video, and it was like they were just all in shock. Like, what an asshole. Okay, Just Jeff, you stick with that claim. I'm like, it was based on best inference to the explanation.
Pretty good, yeah.
He was just giving him a counter. Like, what about this explanation? Can I just say, that's good information?
Honestly, I'd rather believe that than he's the son of God. That makes more sense, I guess.
No, I just thought it was funny. Just like it was almost like they sounded like just completely offended. Like, what a dickhead. Like Argatha's like, you don't have to be a jerk about it, Just Jeff. I'm like, it was a perfectly reasonable thing. He's bringing up best inference to the explanation, and then it's just a counter to it. I mean,
so what month did Jesus die in? Supposedly,
May. I don't know.
Was it summer? Okay,
it was like June or July.
What was the average temperature in the tomb for 3 days?
Well, ideally, it was around the time of the Passover. I don't know where exactly that occurs. Is it what? I don't know. I couldn't even say. I know they have Rosh Hashanah in like the month of September, October, or something like that. It kind of rotates, but I don't know about Passover.
Well, my theory is that the reason that more people didn't see Jesus rise from the tomb is that he smelled really bad.
Well, nobody actually. When you read the scriptures, it doesn't say anybody saw him rise from.
Oh, okay.
The women, like when you read Mark, the women they witness the tomb empty and meet a young man that tells them, but they don't. Nobody actually witnesses Jesus come back to life and come out of the tomb.
Okay.
There's no eyewitness account of him actually rising from the dead.
This sounds very convenient.
Easter is in April, right?
I don't know. They have fights over that all the time. This year it's in May, I think.
I was thinking of June, July was when he was born. What the historians or something say.
And I'm just saying, 3 days, dead person, issue, problem. Particularly with the neurons.
But speed. Jesus is different. He's an alien, so of course he's gonna be able to survive 3 days.
So what stream was
dry?
that?
Hey, it's a dry climate, and they anointed the body first. It probably wouldn't start to stink for more than 3 days. It would take more than that.
Well, and you got to remember that they buried him on the first day. He was in there for a full day. He rose on the third day.
Right. Yeah. So it was like 36 hours. Come on.
Yeah. He wasn't in there a full 72. So it's all good.
Yeah, he needed a nap. Like, he just needed to rest.
The curing process.
by
the
the
72-hour curing process hadn't taken place yet.
I guess
He
everyone
wasn't-
missed the joke, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he wasn't jerky yet.
So, who was this kid, Jay? Was it Preparationer? That one?
Did he have a
I don't
raccoon
know.
avatar?
No, I didn't see his avatar. He was on webcam. It goes by
Oh.
Bram. His first name is Bram.
I don't know. The one I'm thinking of was a snot-nosed kid with a raccoon avatar.
Oh, Will. Will is.
That's Will, or Baptist Chad, as he also goes by Baptist Chad, and he's got a couple other different. That kid's a douche.
So we're assuming that the Easter resurrection story took place as it's written, because I don't even think they would have thrown him or put him in a tomb. I think they would have thrown him in a mass grave.
Yep. When is Easter?
Well, that was the thing. The story goes that basically the tomb that Jesus was buried in was supplied by Joseph of Arimathea.
Right. Yeah, that's
That's
what
why
the story says. But that name is so.
Well, and that's not actually in the. I don't think that, if I remember correctly, that's not actually in the Bible. You have to go to Josephus to find that one out.
No, Joseph of Arimathea is in John, in the Gospel of John.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but the thing has always struck me as weird is the fact that in one of the Gospels, you basically have 3 men who are being crucified. So they've been beaten and beyond a bloody pulp before they were even put on the cross. Yet 2 of them are mocking him, almost having a discussion with him. In fact, you do have a discussion going on. Remember me when you get to your kingdom. And then Jesus says, you'll be seated. Anyway. I just don't think you can have a long conversation on a cross like that when your major expenditure of energy is to try to breathe. So,
I mean, yeah, it does. It does seem like overkill, right? Have even the other prisoners or the other cross, whatever the fuck, mock him? Like, come on, dude, you're trying to overselling this.
It has the makings of a legend, a myth.
Well, they have I remember when Bible study. Doing Bible study when I was a kid, and basically the way, it's basically you're being killed by exposure, shock and exposure, because you're obviously being nailed to a cross, and then you're just kind of sitting out there, and then the whole spear through the side was basically, from what my father had taught me. I don't know if this opinion has changed over the years or not, but what they would do is the Roman soldiers would the reason they would spear the side was to penetrate the lung, and they'd use a cup. And they'd drain some of the blood in, and they'd look and see if there was water. And so basically you were drowning in your own fluids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that we know anything about the practice of spearing the side. I just don't know. The only stories I've heard about crucifixion come from apologists. So.
Yeah, like I said, that was going off of what I was taught when I was a kid.
Right.
So whether or not that opinion has changed, I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't. If you got your information from an apologist book or blog, check the sources and research it on your own.
Oh, that was something my dad was. I can't remember where my dad got that information from, because we would do an hour and a half of Bible study with my dad a day. And he picked up that little tidbit from his Bible, the religion course that he was taking when he went back to college. But I don't know where. I can't remember where he found out, because that's well over 20 years ago.
God, sometimes I hate American marketing. I'm looking for cows with socks on, Maddox and socks.
Oh.
And all I'm getting is socks with cows on them. I want a cow with socks on. I don't want socks with cows on.
Did you put double quotes around it, around the phrase?
I could try.
Closest thing I can think of is like from the movie Top Secret, where they got the cow and it's got the boots on because it's supposed to be a disguise.
That sounds fun, I guess.
Top Secret. Yeah, that's a goofy movie.
Ox and Socks sounds like a great Dr. Seuss book that he should have written at some point.
You see this shit? That's all I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm getting socks, man. I'm just not. Oh, wait. This is close. This cow right here. I don't know.
Have you tried using DuckDuckGo or Duck? What's that one with duck in it?
That looks like Maddox. Does that look like Maddox right there? Oh my God! Look at this one, Maddox. Oh, I'm finding it. You always find the show icon you want.
No, you need one that looks more arrogant.
I think that's a cute little Maddox.
Right.
Yeah, that's a cute.
There we go. It's got the scruffy beard.
Hey, Speed, sure mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, you found a sock? Oh, you found cows with. Oh, where did you get that?
Ox wearing socks.
What is it? Ox wearing socks?
Yeah, Google ox wearing socks.
Oh, okay. I just got to find the right Google.
I don't know what it is about animals wearing socks. Well, never mind. I won't go into that. But yeah, animals wearing socks.
That's a good way to. It's a really good.
Oh my God! I found them.
It's probably a great way. Probably a great way to test the durability of a company's socks. No holes after 2 hours.
I found our Saturday Night at the Atheist show icon. So, thank you.
Yep.
Something
Thank you, Vincent Gibbon, for that insightful search criteria there.
Coloring
search phrase.
Yeah, that's a good search. But Andrew's the one that came up with it originally. So, Rational empiricist, Maddox in socks. So that's what got me searching.
I think the glasses were a nice touch on the one that I found. I thought the sunglasses were nice.
Okay, who's the teddy bear today?
The what?
Right next to you, the teddy. Is that Top Dog?
Yeah, that's Top Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it started moving, I realized that must be Top Dog. That's his shtick.
It's a raccoon.
Okay, I apologize.
That's a really weird
speciesist.
So my sister was telling me about this group of people that eat raccoons down south somewhere. What the fuck don't they do down south?
People will eat anything.
I have never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, they barbecue raccoons, and because they consider them a nuisance. And I'm thinking, geez, those things are intelligent little primates on like up and coming primate arm of evolution, and you eat them. Oh my God! Just because they're aggravating, because they eat a few stalks of your corn. I mean, it's like,
okay, so don't they eat possum? Well, never mind.
Oh, when I moved to my hobby farm west of Minneapolis, I come from up north where raccoons are not that popular.
Oh, that's right.
Anyway, so I heard these dogs out in the woods, and I thought they were being beaten or that they were trapped in something, and they were screaming and making this howling noise. So I called the cops, and the cops came and said to me, "Ma'am, those are raccoon dogs. They're hunting raccoons." So, like in the middle of the night, they're out there with these dogs.
Wait, they called you a ma'am?
No, but that's kind of the condescending thing. Cops, the condescending. I was trying to capture the condescension in the cops.
Oh, gotcha.
I was gonna say, wait. You don't have a woman's voice.
You see, this is what Danny doesn't understand about me. I take license with the language a bit. So you guys got to read between the lines a lot with me.
That's the old fashioned. Well, you live in Missouri, right?
Minnesota.
What's the difference?
Minnesota. Well, it's kind of like misery. Yeah.
Like this is, and I love how each sock is different color too. You got like what sky blue, red, green, and yellow.
He's fluid.
God damn, Jay.
Sock fluid. Suck fluid. That's good. Yeah.
That makes it. Wow. Okay. Never mind.
I probably shouldn't tell my dark joke about the motor vehicle. No, I'm going to let that go till we get in the back room about the motor vehicle department and the form that they have when you have to take ownership of somebody's vehicle. And they only have one option, and that is surviving spouse is what you have to write at the end of every signature. And like, no matter what relationship you have to the person, they want you to fill out, I guess I am going to tell, they want you to fill out surviving spouse. And I looked at the guy and I said, is that from Kentucky?
You would think you could just put next of kin.
You'd think so, but no, they only have one. You have to capitalize it and you have to write out surviving spouse after every signature. And you have to sign, the person's name, and then you sign your name. And I said, I'm not the spouse. And then he's like, okay, just put it down anyway. I said, well, is this form from Kentucky? So.
I actually know someone from Kentucky.
Well, I don't even know how you can do that, because normally you would have to show like a marriage certificate.
Yeah. In
order to show that you are actually the surviving spouse of this particular person that you're claiming ownership.
It seems bureaucratic laziness.
That's weird.
It seems like bureaucratic laziness.
No, it wasn't me. It was the Minnesota Department of Motor Vehicles. They only have one option, and you got to put that down. So, and it felt a little. It felt a little. It felt a little weird putting that down.
A little dirty. Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Ouch.
Yeah. Yep. The bureaucracy is something that this fucking country just loves, don't they? Jesus Christ, what is wrong with us?
Everything. Then again, I always ask, what the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah. Anyway.
And everybody is asking it when you come in.
Yeah.
What is wrong with this Midnight character?
Yeah. That hears that a lot. But anyway.
Yeah, Jay.
I
know.
You opened the door, I stepped in.
I know.
I was telling you about when I first met you, Midnight, before I got to know you, and I was like, what? Because I was on your stream. Like, you were like the fourth YouTube appearance that I made. I think I came on your show. And that's
if I remember correctly, we actually talked off air first.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we talked off air, but I got to know you. And
yeah, and and you regret the decision every day, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
More tomorrow.
Wait to give that opinion when you go off air.
We'll talk about that more on one of our one-on-ones. Andrew, are you still with us, Andrew? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Okay, I just want to explain to you that in these 12-step programs that I'm trying to walk you through to quit SFT and Maddox, frequently a newcomer will get a sponsor. And then when they're tempted to, use again, when they're tempted to go on the channel, they're supposed to call their sponsor first, and their sponsor is supposed to have a talk with them. So anyway, that's what
is that what I need when I decide to, peruse something on Praise's channel or decide to look up Jill?
Yes, you do, Jay.
Yeah,
you need a sponsor. Yep.
He's got actually. I did see one of his Jill's. He's got a new upcoming video scheduled, I think, in a week or two, called the intellectual emasculation of the atheist male.
Oh my God! Oh, that's going to be beautiful.
Jill is such a baby. God damn it! Wow, I've never seen someone so obsessed with betas and alphas than him.
Which I think he has it as emasculation. Does he have it as because I think if you put emasculation of an atheist male, it's kind of redundant. Considering, can you really emasculate an atheist female? Let's find out.
We'll find out.
I'm trying to remember the exact title here.
He has Art of the Steal, Georgia on my mind.
Yeah, it's called the intellectually emasculated male atheist.
What the hell is it? I'm looking. I think Jesus is the Lord's channel.
Yeah, it's scheduled for 3:25.
Wait, didn't he make a new channel?
Yeah, well, he was banned for a little bit. Yeah, he got his Peter slapped by YouTube for a little bit. I can read live in 8 days, but talking about according to the description, talking about the emasculated male liberal or atheists, because those are both one and the same, emasculated by their mothers and girlfriends, quote unquote girlfriends. The main characteristic of a liberal is a pre-existing lack of self-esteem combined with a weak character. This leads the person to seek self-validation in their opinions and ideas, which is why they no longer debate. Instead, they cancel. Hashtag cancel culture, hashtag liberal, hashtag atheist.
Wait, Jay, is he talking about you or just in general?
That's probably it. Well, he'll probably bring me up because I'm always on his mind.
Wait. Mad that he's suffering from the consequences of his own damn actions.
Yeah. Probably, but is he talking about Soros?
He doesn't take responsibility for jack shit. I won that debate. I absolutely contributed to that last debate we had. No, he didn't.
The thing is that all these guys are staining a little bit because more and more of us are refusing to show up on their channel, Andrew, and debate them.
Just drop that in.
So they're whining a little bit. Did I say that? Did I say that out loud?
It's not. Yeah. It's not because they're, insincere interlocutors or anything like that. It's because we've got the problem.
Yeah, we got the problem. Yeah, we're afraid of them. We're so afraid of them.
Well, the best.
Check your email about cows and socks from John Peterson.
Oh, cool.
Oh, God.
I say John Peterson, and everybody goes, "Oh God, no!" You should be happy, John.
So John's just he's relegated himself to lurking now. He doesn't actually.
Apparently. Oh no! I checked my email. I got Otangelo gave me another bad design email. It's still going. So him and Demeter are going back and forth about bad design.
Oh, lovely.
Demeter offended him the other night when he told him how shitty the DNA replication design was. He just needed one more fucking protein, and you wouldn't have had to go through that whole loop-de-loop, trying to replicate DNA. Let's see. Oh, I didn't get anything from John. I don't know. He hasn't sent it yet.
That's what it says. It says, tell Speed, check his email. Sent him cows and socks.
Oh, what the hell? No, I don't have it. I got Sam's Club member Michael. We promise this will be brief.
You have more than one email? You've got more than one email, right? So
I do. I've been checking them. I'm switching back.
All of them?
I'm checking them all. Checking them twice. I don't know. I'll wait. Maybe it's in the pipe. Sometimes a pipe.
Yeah.
Takes a while. Anyway, guys. I don't know. What should we talk about now?
I don't know how. We can talk about philosophy.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Andrew. Please. I was just going to say that I really need an agenda for this fucking thing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a plan.
A plan. Yeah.
A plan. Something like a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about creationists all the time, so that's a plan.
Andrew has a plan. What's your plan, Andrew?
Well, I had one more question for CRISPR, but it has to do with philosophy of science.
Oh, where's Danny?
No.
No.
I mean, you can try.
Okay. So I guess first of all, would you agree that science makes some foundational assumptions, like not just assumptions of one particular experiment, but just assumption of science in general?
So scientists make assumptions. I don't know what it means to say that science assumes things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like saying knowledge assumes things.
I have an interesting question for you, CRISPR, as you are a scientist. Do scientists give a rat's ass about the philosophy of science?
Some of them?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess some of them do.
Yeah. I'm just wondering because I don't think it normally comes up.
No.
In my view, science is just a natural extension of what we all do and know every day. Basically, human knowledge and how we learn things, how we acquire knowledge about the world, and we just extend it to science. And I just don't see a problem. As far as
science is basically just recording observations and then applying statistics to it. That's science.
Well, you do a little bit of imagination, hypothesis, thinking. Trying to figure things out. It's
you can. It's optional. It's optional, right? The important thing is the recording and the statistics. It's those two things. That's what you need.
To have a balance between data and theory.
Yeah. So something like there exists an objective reality that isn't like an assumption per se.
So, again, it's not an assumption of science because science doesn't have assumptions because it's not a thinking entity. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Scientists have assumptions, like I said. But again, I don't know that most scientists don't really get into philosophy, so.
Okay.
I heard the question you asked, Andrew, like did the science make assumptions? I think the word you were looking for is, does science have presuppositions? To which the answer to that question would be a resounding yes.
Now again,
I'm
worth
mentioning that science is also itself a philosophy. It is not somehow disconnected from philosophy.
But no, so presuppositions are something that people have.
Yes, but we have to make them in order to engage in certain methodologies. And science is a methodological system. And in order for it to work the way that it does, we have to make particular presuppositions before we can apply it.
But the science doesn't have presuppositions.
Yeah, but when people say, does science have presuppositions, what they generally mean is when we utilize this methodology, do we have to make certain presuppositions to do so consistently?
Right.
Right, but I view it as an important distinction because people like to personify things.
That's true.
And, you can't let them get away with personifying things because that's how nonsense grows.
So I guess sorry.
Oh, no, I was referring to the chat. Maverick said Christianity is superior to atheism.
Also, I did want to answer what Midnight said. Technically, yes, knowledge would also have presuppositions. There are certain presuppositions that must be made before one can claim that they have knowledge about something. But it my point, a particular theory of knowledge, because there's more than one.
My point is that the word science means knowledge, right? And to say that
I guess in some sense it does. I wouldn't define it that way.
All right. Well, the point I was trying to make is that what we call science is just natural philosophy, and people, for some fucking reason, decided to separate the two when there is no distinction. Moving on.
Yeah, I don't know why people think that science is like something that's disconnected from philosophy. Science is very actually.
Well, I mean, Leo,
both epistemology and metaphysics.
See, if people were to use natural philosophy, then okay, yeah, the philosophy is involved, but because you have philosophy and science, people are like, oh, the two fields are distinctly different.
Well, the funny thing is, the only people that really actively make this argument that science and philosophy are distinct and philosophy is useless isn't most people. Most people actually recognize that science is very much philosophical and is heavily rooted in, especially areas of epistemology and metaphysics, like I said earlier. It's mainly a group of online internet secularists that are arguing, like people like Richard Dawkins, people like Stephen Hawking even did a little bit, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Lawrence Krauss, who are arguing that science isn't a philosophy, philosophy is useless, we don't need it. They sort of paint philosophy as this tool that is utilized.
How many scientists do you interact with on a daily basis?
That is a tool for obfuscating discussions, and I just don't think
hardly none.
Leo, to answer the question, it would depend on what your definition of a scientist is. By the general definition of a scientist, almost everybody in this room is a scientist.
General.
I don't think that's what most people mean when they say scientist.
Most people mean they mean an academic expert.
Well, okay, everybody in this room can agree that Chris was a scientist, or at least training to be one, right?
A professional scientist, yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Chris was a scientist.
I mean, I get paid to do it, so yeah. So, I interact with a bunch of other people who also get paid to do science, and I will tell you that the majority of them, they don't necessarily care so much about philosophy.
Well, they think they don't. Little do they realize every day they're doing philosophy.
Okay, right. Okay, so if I said that everyday philosophers think that they're not doing science, but they really are, you would say that was silly, and that I was just playing with words and making up some bullshit.
Well, no, not
and you'd
really.
be right, and that's exactly what you just did, and that's making up some bullshit, and you shouldn't have done it.
Not because philosophy is the set that science is a subset of. So if one is doing science and they are doing philosophy, that does not mean that it is commutative. Where one does philosophy, they are doing science, and science.
If you broaden philosophy to that extent, philosophy includes everything, at which point it's meaningless.
Well, it includes most methods of understanding and discussion and colloquial.
The way I understand philosophy is that it's the mother of all disciplines, right? You know,
okay, at that point, what can you be doing that you're not doing philosophy?
Drugs.
Yeah, well,
you have to have some understanding about. You have to have some understanding. You have to have some understanding about the drugs you're doing, though. So that's philosophy. Like everything you can imagine.
Yes,
you're using philosophy right now is philosophy.
There's no escaping.
Philosophy is useless as a term. It has no meaning.
Hold on. The term philosophy means the pursuit of wisdom, does it not?
Well, I mean, etymologically speaking, yes, I believe it's love of wisdom is what the word means. But I would argue
the love of wisdom
and philosophy has never been as broadly defined as just doing anything. It's a rational methodological consideration of reality as a whole, or particular parts of it.
I define philosophy as Danny.
Consideration of reality, either as a whole or within particular, I think the word is like particular dimensions of human existence. It's literally what science is. Science is a philosophy, much like metaphysics or epistemology or ontology or ethics. Science would fall into that realm.
Like, can we all at least agree that scientists use tools that were created by philosophers?
Thank you.
I would argue science. I would argue science is a tool created by philosophers.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we were trying to work our way up to something. We're trying to get a baseline here. Because it seems ridiculous to say scientists don't use philosophy because the tools themselves, like peer review, how to do, like the method itself is philosophy. Those were all made by philosophers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. They're developed almost exclusively by philosophers before anybody that you would consider a hard scientist got involved.
Well, I mean, like a lot of, the modern method was made after science was already established as a discipline.
Exactly.
So if we all want to agree, I know we all won't, that scientists don't do philosophy. If they're ignorant of philosophy or think philosophy is useless, that just means they're ignorant of the thing they're actually doing. But yeah, it's like using a hammer to drive in a screw. At that point, they can do it. They just don't understand why it works.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Except if you use a hammer to drive in a screw, it doesn't work.
Oh, you can do it. I've done it.
but now you're doing so. Okay, if you're going to make an analogy, you need to make an analogy that actually works.
Worked for me.
Okay, now I get served. He's just being a troll. A lot of what he said isn't completely far off, but the hammer and screw, that threw everybody off.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't actually understand the reasons for the methods you're using, the only thing you care about is that it functions.
Yeah, it's like basically using a computer. Like, you don't need to understand how it fucking works in order to use it.
Yeah, like if you're a scientist, you're not going to use philosophy at all, and you think it's worthless. There might be a screwdriver next to you that no one's ever used, but because everyone's always used a hammer, you're going to keep on using a hammer because you never stop to think about it.
If you got a bunch of guys building a house, like a half dozen guys building a house, and you got a dozen guys standing around them saying, "What is a hammer?" Those are the philosophers. The guys building the house.
Well, they're also the guys explaining to you the best way to build the house.
Yeah,
and they're also the guys explaining to you that. Sorry, you don't build your house out of grass. You build your house out of wood and brick.
Sorry, often they're the ones talking about what they think the best way to build a house is.
Right.
And they have absolutely no clue what they're talking about.
And they want to know what you mean by house.
That seems odd. It seems like you're picking on a really small niche of philosophers, mainly the ones you would have run into online.
Danny.
I mean, there are philosophers that are philosophers of disciplines. They do things like create the scientific method. I'm sure no one in here is going to deny that that's a useful tool.
Yes. Wow. Okay, I agree with you. It's useful. Moving on.
So it's not just the people asking what is a house. It's the people also explaining to you that a house needs rooms. And this is how you build a house. This is why you should build a house. You use nails and screws and wood and brick and stone, not grass and dirt.
Yeah, but I think we knew that.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's not so obvious when you get into technical things about what you need to do. That's what philosophers deal with.
Yeah, and some of them...
And people like Danny don't really help with people's view of philosophy. I'm just going to be honest right here, right now. All right?
No, there's a hell of a lot of really, really good, decent philosophy, and then there's a lot of fringe shit. And the fringe shit is usually what makes the most noise, and that is a problem.
Well, the fringe shit is what gets people's attention because it's unanswered.
Right.
It doesn't have an answer. So it allows people that aren't as smart to sit around and argue. Because you don't have to produce anything.
Pretty much.
I did want to draw what I think is a good analogy between people who utilize science as a tool just to get answers and to do stuff, and then people who might see what's going on and think more deeply about what this is that we're experiencing, or what this is that we're getting through observations or data. Would be the difference between those in theoretical physics who don't give a shit about quantum foundations and just use quantum mechanics to get answers to do things, and then people like Leonard Susskind and Sean Carroll who are philosophizing about quantum foundations. Why is reality at this level so fundamentally different from what we're used to? I mean, yeah, we know it's a system. We know we can use it. We know we can get accurate answers. We know we can build technology. We get that. But why is it the way that it is? And so you have people who don't give a shit about why it is the way that it is. And it's like, okay, I get good answers. I can build technology. I can describe systems using this, so I'm going to use it. It doesn't matter. I can do this thing with this, so I'm going to use it to do that thing. And then you get other people that are asking questions of, so why does it work? Why is it not intuitive? Why is it different? Why is this something that people have been thinking about? And that's really the difference between people who are just focused on the hard science and people who like the science but also ask the deeper questions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Except the people that have deeper. Again, the people that ask the deeper questions, depending on how they present themselves, can come up with like, well, okay, this just seems like garbage. Who gives a shit about it? Let's just. The point I'm trying to make is that there seems to be a war between the two.
Well, I feel like certain people either on either side try to turn it into a war by arguing that one is better than the other, when people don't realize that there's sort of a symbiotic relationship between both science and the sciences and philosophy. You can't really have one without the other, because while science gives you answers about the world and how it works, it doesn't really do much beyond that. It's not taking
philosophy allows you to ask the questions
why these things are this way and what we can really do with it. Whereas philosophy can tell you a lot about stuff, but it doesn't. You don't it's not applicable in the same way that science is to actually understanding the root of certain systems and how they function. So you really need both to understand what's going on in the world, especially from a human perspective.
Yeah. Are there people who argue whether chemistry or biology is, which one's better? Because you can also make a distinction that the two go hand in hand also. Chemistry and biology.
I would argue that biology is to chemistry what physics is to mathematics.
Yeah.
I would argue that biology is just a specialized chemistry.
Basically. Basically, yeah.
And chemistry is obviously just a specialized physics.
I mean, that's fair enough.
And mathematics is just like a narrative version of physics, kind of.
Oh, speaking of mathematics, I remember, Leo and I had an interesting discussion, what was it, like a few days ago, about whether mathematics is inherent to the universe. I think we agree that some, pi and the Fibonacci sequence, but then the rest humans came up with. I don't know. Because it's like...
Well, here's the thing, like math is a logical system, right? And it's been proven to actually, at its base level, can be assumed from logic. Right? That was quite a while ago.
I haven't seen anything that either logic or mathematics can 100% be constructed from the other. There's still a pretty big debate on that. I don't consider math and logic to be the same thing. Very closely related. Math to me is not a logic, and logic to me is not a mathematics.
Well, I mean, I would accept that
systems, but that they're not the same thing.
I would accept that you wouldn't have read it. You would have to read. Was it? I'm always mess up the title. Principia
Mathematica.
Yeah, I mean that's a large part of what that book is.
Are we? We're not. I'm assuming we're not talking about the one by Newton.
No, yeah, Bertrand Russell.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't. I have not read that.
I mean, Bertrand Russell, this is sort of what he's famous for, is reducing mathematics to logic, and showing that it's solely based on logic.
Well, I mean, I do know that he did that. I can't say that it's accepted. I know that there's many objections to how he did that, pressed by both logicians and mathematicians. But I do know he is the one that's at least made an attempt to derive mathematics purely from logic.
Okay, well, I haven't seen any objections. Well, yeah, I mean, he's the Einstein of logic, and basically. Yeah. Where was I going with it?
I meant to admire.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Who the hell's the Maverick? Does anybody know the Maverick?
I don't know, but he hangs around Rage's streams,
but doesn't ever come into the streams.
I
think he came in once.
He's trying to convince me that Christianity is superior to atheism because if you're an atheist, apparently you go around rampaging and killing people, and
I do
burning villages.
Well, I don't think his response really answers the question he asked, because he said, "Why are some people immoral?"
So why does
immoral because they fall foul of 5 desires? I would posit everybody is capable of those desires, but something keeps them from falling foul of that. The question is, why do people fall foul of these 5 desires, if that's even, those are the roots of immorality. And I think that's where things differ. I think most things can be explained by psychology, economics, sociology.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Well, it's even simpler than that. We have these extra loops, frontal lobes, where we can look at something or basically approach a desire from a planning point of view. And that makes humans a little bit different and some of the higher primates different in that we can withhold basically from a desire. Like we're not directly connected to our desires. We have a couple of neurons in between our desires and the motor system, right? so anyway, it's just so hard for these assholes to understand that morality is natural. It is built into our fucking fiber, into our human being.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I would argue that things like empathy. I But I would say that morality is a systematic convention that allows us to ensure a level of social cohesion that was developed from our sense of empathy. But it's the sense of empathy that is inherent to social species like humans. It isn't the formalized, systematic structures of social cohesion that those species then develop.
What is the sense of empathy? What is it physically? What is it in the brain?
I don't know. I'm not a neuroscientist. I don't feel confident enough to answer.
You've heard of theory of mind, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you know we're a social species.
Well, of course. That's why we have empathy. Empathy, and CRISPR could comment to this more than I could, but as I understand it, empathy is something that generally develops in social species because it is a trait that does increase social cohesion and thus the overall survivability of the species. And so naturally you're going to see more of those species around.
Yeah, they've done experiments actually in a number of different social species, including I think at least a couple of species of invertebrate that demonstrate that there is at least some tendency for individuals to help other individuals in the group.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And basically there is no nucleus in the brain for empathy. So empathy is not a thing in the brain. It's sort of it's something that falls out or supervenes on the entire system, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to find roots of that system in very simple animals.
Exactly. Very much so.
Aren't you, maybe this is the wrong thing, but aren't you forgetting of mirror neurons?
Mirror neurons don't actually exist. Did you know that? There's no fucking such thing. There's neurons that light up when you think about doing something or when you see somebody else doing that thing.
Yeah, those are called mirror neurons.
Yeah, they call them mirror neurons, but that was like pop sci shit. That had nothing to do with reality. There is no particular kind of neuron that is a mirror neuron. That, again, is something that falls out of the whole system and how the system works. And the system is based on motor. Your motor brain is probably the core of what drives you and what you are and how you think, okay? And no, there is no such thing as mirror neurons. Go and look up criticisms of it. You'll find neuroscientists pulling their fucking hair out over it.
Oh, I'm sure I can find criticism of everything. I can find criticism of the standard model. I can find criticism of CRISPR, the gene editing tool, not CRISPR here.
Okay, wait. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be mistaken. Not all neurons fire when you observe actions. Right?
Because if they did, you'd walk off a cliff watching TV where somebody walked off a cliff.
Right, and then you have neurons that do, which then sort of tells you that there is mirror neurons, because not all neurons do so.
So
they call them mirror neurons, but no.
I wanted to say I'm going to take off. I just popped in for a quick second. Tangela said animals do not have morals. Animals cannot make conscious, willful choices. Got to give
that's a lie.
I also believe that CRISPR could comment on that and show why that's just the dumbest fucking thing. Anybody who understands animal psychology, or that's the dumbest thing that anybody who understands animal psychology would say that's like the dumbest thing they could ever.
Or anyone that's owned a dog.
Humans are animals. So there, we're done.
Yeah.
Yep. We're done.
Has he never owned a dog?
I mean, leave aside all of the other ways that's a ridiculously stupid thing to say. I mean,
yeah,
that the fact that humans are animals alone should be enough to make it clear why that's outrageously stupid.
Yep. Well, here's the thing.
See, to call people animals is to devalue them in the Christian worldview.
I think that means that Christians don't put enough value on animals.
Well, yeah, no, I know. That's always been my pet peeve of that.
Yes, Maverick thoughts are pretty much just a bunch of chemicals bumping into each other. The fuck?
Actually, I still have to read this book, but it's an interesting book called Molecules of Emotion that I really need to get to reading.
Molecules of Emotion? Not on my radar. Oh my god!
It's not on your radar. So speed. I'm gonna be
Amazon Prime.
Well, yeah, you have Amazon Prime. So.
Don't do it. Now we need to have another intervention on this stream today.
Well, I mean, okay, look. He really. I buy a lot of books occasionally, and I'm still waiting. But yeah, buying books is definitely good. Just speed, slow down, buddy. Or I could give you a link to a certain website where you can. Okay, never mind. We'll keep that for off air. On free.
No, I was just going to say maybe you need to do some research to see if there's anything been written in the last 20 years that might be more updated than that.
Oh, when was that written?
In 1999, but I could give you some updated stuff, but just because a book is written, research, expand, things overturn. But,
I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm just saying whenever I see something that was written in 1999 anymore, I think that's probably a little dated. But it's not a critique. Yeah. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm just saying my source meter goes up.
Well, yeah, no. I get it, but for me, it's like saying, never mind, Scott. I can understand that. Like I said, I can always send Speed updated stuff on it because it's I found it interesting to research this stuff. The biology of belief, then unleashing the power of consciousness, matter and miracles. Yeah, I gotta say, I read the first chapter of this as a sample, and it was bizarre, right? He was trying to say that that cells are like these miniature cities with people running around. I don't know whether he was just using metaphor and poetry, but it was like, what the fuck am I reading?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's using metaphor.
But by the way, when it comes to the brain, don't worry so much about reading 2020 articles. A lot of stuff about the brain from 1980 onward is highly valid, and we know a fuck ton about the brain. It's just we forgot to tell the public that we know it.
Yeah, it's like it's like people always thought that after a while the brain can't change and you can't grow new neurons. Oh, gee, look at that, neuroplasticity and neurogenesis are a thing.
This sounds like bullshit. I don't know the biology.
And it kind of is. I mean, if you buy at your own discretion.
Yeah, I'm not buying that one.
Isn't it funny? Whenever a scientist becomes well known to the public because they're going out there and explaining things to them, they're using philosophy to do it, and then everyone's out here like, philosophy's stupid.
Yeah, dude.
But also, how dare you not inform us?
Right? But sir, the craziest thing about it, is that you can't even escape philosophy. That not having philosophy is itself.
At least the way every professor ever defined the term to me, if you don't have philosophy, if you're not using philosophy, is because you're dead.
Basically, yes.
Why is it that Christians have such a limited understanding of morality? It really worries me.
Because they've been told immorality comes from God, and therefore they don't need to put time into actually studying it because it's already there, easy to get the answers.
It's like if I cross the street in front of their speeding car, they have to basically look up a Bible verse to decide whether or not to put on a brake. I mean, that fucking worries me, right?
They have objective and subjective reversed.
Like, well, I mean, if they were being sincere, they wouldn't do anything. It just God would make sure you didn't get hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that also worries me.
But I could just imagine you crossing the street, and then there's like a Christian, slowly approaching you, and it's like, what do I do? Pulls out a Bible, desperately just for a passage.
What should I do? What should I do? What would
God he's about to hit you. He hits the brakes.
What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do in this situation? Let's think about it. Let me think. God damn, it's not that complicated, guys. We're moral animals. Just get used to it. We're not going to kill you.
Yeah, a lot of people. Hey, look. We always talked about. We always mention this, but some people need religion to not go fucking insane and kill people.
Yeah, like that guy that debated Eric Murphy, the one that decided to beat his dad's head in with a hammer.
Don't you mean Matt Dillahunty?
No, Matt Dillahunty. No, he
no. He the guy debated Matt Dillahunty, but his name was like David Woods or something.
No,
yeah, it was David Wood. I was trying to remember. I remembered the Wood part, but not the David.
Is that his name?
Yeah, David Woods, a creepy motherfucker. I looked into him. It was like
Eric's first debate was with David Wood.
Yeah, he was a creepy motherfucker. It's like I read up on it. It's like, you know, back in high school, I was an atheist. I used to believe I was God. I like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, he ripped up some neighbor's garden just for fun, and then he decides to go home and beat his dad's head in with a hammer, just because he thought it would be, you know, he wanted to see what it was like. That's how he explains it. Then he found Jesus in prison, and then he was all better. And I'm thinking, okay, that guy, we have to be careful we don't convert him.
Yeah, he I think transfers all his aggression onto Muslims because he's got this anti-Muslim ministry. I'm sorry, evangelism to Muslim ministry.
Oh, good. Let me know if he gets mad at atheists, because
I mean, it's just one of those things. I've talked to people who used to say, I used to be an atheist, and I used to worship Dawkins and Hitchens, and I'm like, then you were not. Then, I'm really tempted to always say, what is it, like no true atheist, because. To me, it just seems bizarre, right? Oh, I used to be an atheist, but then, Pascal's wager converted me. Or, I don't know, it's one of those things where it just feels like, I don't know.
So you were one kind of stupid and converted to a new kind of stupid.
Basically, yes. That's what it feels like, right? Oh, I used to be an atheist, but Solipsism led me to nihilism, which led me to what else is there? Which then led me to God.
Look, I keep on to be a rational human being.
I'm sorry, you just said nihilism. What else is there? And there's a joke somewhere with that.
Well, what was it? I think it was solipsism, nihilism, and then something else, I forget, but I guess not. No, it's only solipsism and nihilism. There you go. And then for some reason they become Christians.
But I keep on saying it, and I'm saying it more and more recently. You have to remember, 100 is the average because half the people are below it.
Yeah.
Well, then in that case, I must have higher than 100.
I know which half that is. This whole thinking thing, the reason for it is to get donuts. And if thinking leads you to one belief or another, some fucking irrational belief, you're thinking too much. Stop it.
I mean, I think too much also.
I don't know.
Like, I'll be honest, always questioning.
Thinking is for donuts. Getting donuts. That's what it's for.
I mean, why the hell? I don't know, whatever. But, you know what? This stream has actually been very nice without certain people in here.
There's those people this stream.
Yeah. I mean, having John in here is cool, just not ending.
The Uden?
Sorry.
Serve. Go ahead.
I need to know real quick. I've been meaning to ask. Which David is this in the upper right-hand corner of our screen? Is that David P. Neff, or is that David who is actually Laurie Hayes?
Laurie David.
It's Laurie? Hey, Laurie David.
Yeah. I was wondering which David that was.
You got to start putting Laurie David there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because you are forever that.
Or Larry David.
Larry David. There you go.
That would get us some upvotes.
Amy Newman had an interesting stream yesterday. After...
Who did we just lose? We lost somebody.
Scott. No, wait, no, never mind.
Who did we lose? Chris Burke. Oh,
no, Chris was here.
What was that name? Begins with a D. He's well-spoken.
Cerberus.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
It doesn't begin with a D. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
At Thomson Reuters, we had a server named Cerberus, which we hated, And I wish he'd change his name because I was thinking of it as that server. We just hated that
I
server.
hear a dog whining.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dogs are getting hungry, and I need to get some lunch, so I gotta head out. But it's been fun.
I want a fucking donut, and it's coming up on 4:00, so we got to shoot this thing in the head. So,
wow.
Anyway, okay, bye, Andrew. And Andrew, did you read the private chat where I sent you a little personal message about our sponsorship?
Let's see.
By the way, Andrew, that one.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Thanks.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah.
All right.
It's humor. It's humor, dude.
See you guys, and thanks for helping my questions, CRISPR.
Okay. Bye.
See you.
Okay, guys. I think we're going to end this unless somebody else has something that they're a burning desire. Anybody?
Yeah. Before we head out, I wanted to mention something about Antangelo. I'm a little worried. I know everybody just loves him so much in the streams. I'm a little concerned about him lately. He's based on his last comment, number one, and then I don't know if anybody realizes, but he's been following Darth Dawkins lately very closely.
Oh no!
Like he's on his streams every day.
Oh man, that's gonna make a black hole.
The dark side. Oh no, the dark side. The dark side.
So he's probably going to start trying to use his arguments, I assume. I'm waiting for that. I haven't seen it yet, but I think.
Well, my observation is that there's only one thing that Antangelo doesn't believe in, and that's evolution. So I'm not surprised at all.
Yep, that covers it.
Oh God.
Okay, guys. So we're doing a 7 p.m. stream tonight. So,
wait, Eastern or?
There is no such thing as Eastern time. There's only Central.
Okay,
time.
so Central.
Yeah.
CST.
So we're the center, the heart, and the okay, I'll say the soul of America.
And we're going to try to read the paper.
Slab of land right there in the middle, where 7 o'clock is 7 o'clock, and we don't put anything at the end of it.
Yeah. And we have been talking a little bit to Bruce Dahmer from.
I think it's Dahmer.
Yeah, the one who wrote that paper. And we may have him on the show with Demeter at some point, so that would be good. So, anyway,
we're not promising. We're just saying.
We're trying. It's just, we're such a rowdy bunch that sometimes these scientists look at us and say, "Nope."
Well, I mean, yeah, like,
nope.
I don't know.
Anyway, okay. So thanks everybody for showing up. Everybody out in the chat and whatever. And Maverick, I'd love to talk to you about morality sometimes. If you want to stop in and have a chat, that would be great. But we're going to end the stream now.
Stay curious.
There you go. Okay.
I know.
Goodbye, cruel world.